Don't be fooled by just one sheet. It'll go on for at least an hour. But before I say anything, class of 2023, congratulations. Well done. And I must tell you, it's a big moment not just for you. It's a big moment for your parents. They're all there, and congratulations to all of you. I know what has gone in to make that happen. I'm a father myself, and I just attended my son's graduation 2 weeks ago, and I think I was crying more than he was. But it is a very big moment. But before that, Madam Chairperson, and all of you, and this entire administration, congratulations. It's not easy to build an institution. More so, it's not easy to create a credible institution. And more importantly, it's very difficult to create an institution with respect. Congratulations to all of you. It is huge. And what I must say there to all of you, the graduating class, you're privileged. You're one of the privileged few in this country and globally. And in many ways, there lies a lot of burden on your shoulders. So let me tell you the burden, which is what I'm talking of. And ma'am, you spoke so well about trying to tell them what the values of life are. And I think those are the most important things which come about. And ma'am, thank you very much for that introduction. I could not recognize myself when you were saying some of those things. But let me start by the first point. You are now at one of the most important inflection points in your life. It's the most important inflection point. And at all inflection points, the most interesting thing is many of us still want to hold on to the stories of the past. They give you comfort. But then those who want to take on and adopt the stories of the future are the ones which go ahead. That is what an inflection point is about. And when I tell you that you are at one of the most important inflection points, and why for me, in many ways we envy you as we pass on the baton to all of you, is because you are at an inflection point of a country which itself is going through one of the most important inflection points in its history. You know what India is undergoing today is the most unprecedented transformation, both in terms of scale and pace. But even within that transformation, where we are today in that is one of the most important inflection points. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. 95% of India, 95% of this superpower in making will be made in the next 9,000 days. Each one of you are the architect of it. My senior, Mr. Rai, is sitting here. We've done our bit. We will continue. But this is a time when you will create a superpower. When you have that opportunity, I don't know, there is this beautiful song by Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time. And when I'm a little down, I always listen to it. And one line in it goes that you can be more than you thought you could be. This is that moment for you. Use it wisely, use it judicially. Because you are no longer being watched only in your classroom, in your city, in your college, in your family, but the entire world is your stage. And when I want to tell you what that inflection point is about, let me give you a quick history of what may happen in India in the next 9,000 days. And if I may say so, I believe what will happen in India in the next 9,000 days. Just in the past 100 months, you moved ahead of Russia, Italy, Brazil, France, and UK in terms of your GDP in 100 months. No country in the world ever in history has moved its GDP at such a pace in such a short period of time. Your first trillion happened in 2007. It took you about 70 years. 47 was the one you got it. Your second trillion was 2015, 8 years. Your third trillion, 2020, 5 years. Your fourth trillion will be next year, in 4 years. But I'll tell you how it is moving. Your seventh, eighth, and ninth trillion will happen in less than 20 months each. This juggernaut is now on the move. And I'll tell you why I'm giving you those figures. If I look at the average growth rate, and each one of you are master strategists, because as I was seeing a large number of you have consulting and you're doing your MBA, let us look at the average growth rate of my states, each of my states, from 2014 to 2019. I have 22 states which grew at an average of above 10%. In fact, 3 of them grew at over 13%. If I just take the average growth rate of those states, and for each of those states, and I project it for 9,000 years, 9,000 days, that takes me to $42 trillion on 15th August 2047. That's when you will turn 100 years. The balance 9 states, which are between 7 to 10%, will give me another 9 trillion. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you, in your own life, what you will be creating is a value of over $47 trillion in the next 9,000 days. And the world GDP on 15th August 2047 is supposed to be anywhere about $200 to $225 trillion. What that means is it has taken us 300 years to come back to a share of 20 to 25% of the world GDP. The last time it happened was in 1750. You will be doing that for us on 15th August 2047. This responsibility sits on the shoulder of each one of you. That growth is now in your hands. And what is propelling that growth, and to my mind, one of the biggest things, and it is very important for each one of you as you move out into this world, is what is India well acknowledged for today? Is extreme entrepreneurship. I call it an extreme entrepreneurship, and I'm not just talking of startups, and that is included in this. I have 64 million registered MSMEs in India. 64 million. If I add the unregistered, I'd go to about 120 million. By the way, if I take it further, I have 333 million self-employed professionals in India. 333 million. Many of you will be a part of that engine of growth. And remember why I call this segment as my heartbeat of India. Because close to a third of my GDP comes from the MSMEs. Close to 36% of my manufacturing comes from these heartbeats. And over 40% of my exports comes from them. Just imagine when each one of you is empowered. Very well known for is frugal innovation. You know what frugal innovation actually means is a mindset of getting a job done. This of the resources which are available for you. This is the strength of India. This is what got you through the worst ever disaster history when I talk about COVID. The worst ever, World Bank had said that the future of the world depends upon how India manages that virus. And nor did you only manage it well, you supported the rest of the world to do it. The world's largest food program, the world's largest vaccine program, the world's largest water resource program. I don't think many of you know that the Jal Jeevan mission, even during the midst of that COVID, reached to the homes of 100 million individuals to get them a tap of water. And just tell me, it's not just putting a tap there, laying a pipe, it's storage, it's water treatment, everything involved, in the midst of that COVID. And let me tell you, because you're students of business, the focus was both on life and livelihood. And when I came to livelihood, 2000, we started with just about 50 million depository accounts. Why is depository account important? Because each one of your MBA graduates, you know where investments are going to come in from. Last year in September, we had 100 million. Just in 30 months. So when I tell you this juggernaut is on the move, and the one who's going to pick up the pace and take it forward, it's going to be each one of you. And you have to play that role to make that happen. But what is interesting is that never before in the history of civilization has an individual been so empowered. Never before. Think about it. You want me to say something? Use this mic? After 1 minute. Thank you. I'll use this mic after 1 minute, just remind me. But what has happened is that the pillar of digitization, and think if the virus had hit us in 2014, when you did not have that level of digitization in the world. How would we have done it? Today, you're the largest country not yet on the net, but you're the second largest on the net. But every second, 3 new people are joining that net in India, and 2 of them from a village. And 11% of the world's population lives in our villages. So when I tell you we're at an inflection point which impacts not just you, your families, and your entire city and your country, it is because 20% of the world's human resource is in India today. And in some manner or the other, you impact each one of them. I come from a land of foreign investment, which is what I'm responsible for. Today, 163 countries have trusted you with their money, with their investment, and their future. It's in your hands now. And more importantly, this much, we touched $1 trillion of FDI cumulatively from 1947. This is the first time. 60% of that came in the last 100 months. Is that 1 minute over? Should I move to the other mic? Not yet. The reason why I'm telling you about digitization is, it has empowered each one of you. That small little phone you have in your hand is more powerful than software and the computer which sent the man to moon in Apollo 18. Now just imagine what that digitization has done in India. It is empowering 1.4 billion engines of growth. Each, we will be 1.6 billion on 15th August 2047. 21% of the world's workforce and 20% of the world's middle class will be India. You will be there. We may not be. Can you now imagine the enormity of what stands in front of you? You will be leading the universe. Keep that in mind, because that is what is going to take forward. Now just for a few points for the next 9,000 years. The first is, you are entering a world where everything is possible, but nothing is certain. Take a minute to see that. Add that the empowerment which each one of you have in your own hand. And you've seen that power. You all use your social media. You've seen how impact what you can make. Even as an individual, what you can do. Empower yourself to make and see how you can contribute and make that engine grow. But most importantly, in a world where everything is possible and nothing is certain, The only thing which will remain your certainty is your own values. And ma'am, you mentioned about that. Find your purpose. This is what I see is one of the biggest things of your generation. I remember when we started in West India, we have about 480 with an average age of 29, each one coming from prestigious schools. And the only reason they came, and each one had taken a huge pay cut, they all wanted and had a purpose to make India happen. Whatever your purpose be, stick to that. Redefine what you mean by success. Success is no longer going to be the paycheck you get when you start a job. That is going to change very fast. You want to stay steady on that course, and you want to do it well. Keep that in mind. And number two, you moved out of your classrooms, but now starts the real education for you. It's a very winding road. Be ready for any turn. Be open for it, and make an opportunity out of everything which you come through. Very, very critical. And as I see it, I know many of you have joined consulting, but as I look forward, I see many of you doing things on your own, because that is where India is headed towards, and more so for each one of you who are the privileged few of this one. One, and we've all been talking about it, ChatGPT. You all know it. Is it taking away jobs? Of course it is. Will it take 36 months, or will it take 60 months to get general intelligence? Or will it take 72 months to get super intelligence? The fact is, it will happen. Maybe in 50 months, maybe in 72 months. That is going to be one of the biggest shifts, not just in education, but in every aspect of our life. Until now, the one who got the highest marks was the one who knew all the answers. From now, the one who will get the highest salary is the one who knows how to ask the right questions. All the answers are no longer going to be at a premium. But the lesson there is that what you will see with ChatGPT happening, a large number of intermediary jobs will go away. One easy way to look at yourself in the next 10 years, see how a national income is created, a grid, how it is calculated. Sorry, this is not for the parents, this is for the geniuses who are sitting with us. See where you fit into that. And you know, I spent my entire life in banking. Unfortunately, banking doesn't feature there. Banking and insurance is not a part of that because they don't add value, or they don't create value. We think we add value. Keep that in mind. Do something which adds value. And finally, what is going to happen on that the shift of value is going to happen to the person who has created that value. So when a handloom weaver in Chennai is going to be dealing directly with the purchasing person in Paris, which has already started, by the way, the value will go directly to them. And one big thing about e-commerce is that as a retail company, when there was no e-commerce, a retail entity would have its business around 2 to 3 kilometers radius maximum. Today, that is at 1,200 to 1,500 kilometers. And that is going to keep expanding. So keep that in mind as you draw these things. The third most important, and I'm just going to be touching upon some of the core elements on which we've all based our lives, is going to be mobility. One of the biggest strengths of India is its ability to adopt technology and adapt to technology. That's why we are the fastest adapters. And it's a social science requirement that one of the reasons why that happens is because we have one of the highest mobility societies in the world. Do you want to take a guess in 2019, how many people in that year traveled on our railways? We have a population of 1.4 billion today, right? And I'm taking 2019 because it's just a year before COVID. I just want to be fair on that one. 8 billion people traveled on your railways officially. You moved the entire planet. And the reason why I tell you that is because in the next 9,000 days, one of the biggest changes which is going to happen in mobility. Especially when I look at the next 3,000 to 6,000 days. Imagine if you can do Delhi, New York, morning, evening. It's not science fi. And now as business students, think of how it will change business. Think how it will change your lives. Because this is a reality. So keep that in mind. And you know, many of you must be thinking he's talking completely off the mind. I'm telling you things which have actually been tested, which are now waiting for business execution. Last, because I know, Anil, you gave me 20 minutes and I'm at minute 18, but 2 minutes were taken away. So. The most important thing, life expectancy. How long are you going to live? You know, in 1947, when we got independence, our life expectancy was just about 32 years, 35. Today, it is 70. In the next 2,000 days, and I'm not even taking you to 3,000 days, you might be preparing for a life of 3 figures. Prepare your run for that. It is very critical, not just for our generation, but for all of you. This is going to be a serious reality of life, which is going to change. You know, I said 3 figures because it's difficult for me to say 100 years. For all of you, it'll be a common number. And if, because of my age, if I have to leave just one thought, and if you let me indulge you with that, just keep one thing with you, and ma'am, you alluded to it. Gratitude. I know this is the only first generation where you people know more than us. We have to learn from you. But if with my experience I can just leave one thought, never forget gratitude to everyone and to anything that may help you steer the course. And now back to Whitney Houston and that moment in time. And one beautiful thing she says is, when all your dreams are a heartbeat away and you're racing with destiny. You, the class of 2023, are racing with destiny. And all of us and our futures are dependent on you. So do it well and best of luck.